One other school, JD, I want to shout out is Notre Dame. The Irish, they sit at number 4 right now in the On3 industry standings. They're landing the majority of their top targets. There's not a more down-to-earth head football coach than Marcus Freeman. His message really resonates with Notre Dame's targets, and he embraces all of Notre Dame's strengths that other people would maybe pose as weaknesses. The academic standards, having to live with people that aren't football players. Those are things that Marcus Freeman thinks are important and good for top recruits. So when they visit campus, they don't hear it as a negative. They hear it as a positive. Look, we're going to hold you accountable off the field as well as on the field. But when you get through it, we graduated over 90% of our players. And you're going to have a Notre Dame degree in this network. And yes, you might have to live with J.D. PicKell, special teams warrior. No,
hey.
You may have to live with, average Joe student, but he might run a Fortune 500 company in 10 years. And that was your roommate at Notre Dame, right? So those are things that they're selling for with the Irish program, along with they had a chance to win the national championship. They were right there with Ohio State. They had to make some adjustments in that title game, but in that fourth quarter, they had a chance to win the game, get back into it, and it was a heck of a football game, and Notre Dame's right there as a national title contender, and they're recruiting at a level to keep it rolling for years to come. They have one of the best offensive line classes in the country. They have arguably the best defensive line class in the country right now with Rodney Dunham and Ebenezer Ewatati. One's a 5-star. The other is in the top 100 in the On3 rankings, so those are two dynamic, high upside pass rushers, and they continue to crush recruiting in the secondary. Mike Mickens is arguably the best assistant coach in the country. What he's done with Notre Dame's secondary, the way he recruits, he was the recruiter of the year nationally in my On3 unofficial article that I wrote at the end of the season. He was the first name I mentioned for the way he recruited his top targets and landed them. And Notre Dame continues to load up in the secondary, which allows them to play the style of defense they want to play because they hit big and evaluate and develop well in the secondary. So Notre Dame, I don't think they're going anywhere either. And it's going to be an exciting summer on the trail for all the programs I mentioned.
Well, one, I didn't know that was a thing at Notre Dame. I didn't know that athletes early on lived with, we called them at Cornell, NARPs, non-athletic regular people. I don't know if that's the phrase at Notre Dame. I've also heard muggles be a term people throw around. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Two, I rebuke that, all right? All unofficially, special teams leading tackler in the Ivy League, because I don't know who else had what tackles in the conference, but I'm going to go ahead and unofficially claim that. Three, see, for Notre Dame, I would think that them playing for a national championship, them beating Georgia, them beating Penn State, would just change the optics, too, around how people perceive them. Is that something you've picked up on the recruiting trail with how these recruits talk about, what Notre Dame is now in, the modern era under Marcus Freeman? Feels like they're cool again.
Well, more than anything, and speaking of modern era, I do think Notre Dame is well-oiled in the NIL space and allows them to be in the mix for top recruits and top transfer portal guys like Sam Hartman, then Riley Leonard. There's a lot of competition to get those quarterbacks out of the portal. And so Notre Dame, they got some infrastructure. They got some ability in that realm. But my biggest takeaway from Notre Dame's season, because anyone that really follows college football would have put them as a top 10 program overall, going back to the Brian Kelly era with the way they played and the way that players would hear their names called in the NFL draft, and then just how good some of those guys are on Sundays. But Notre Dame's run to the national title game, what it did for their program more than anything from a recruiting standpoint is it made Marcus Freeman famous. He was a guy that maybe wasn't a household name that people saw week in and week out and got a chance to see what a real duty is, how he's how he stands behind what he believes in, and how relatable he is, a former player at Ohio State that understands what these players are going through as a former blue chipper, his message, how eloquent he is, what he believes in, and how it's in line with Notre Dame. But now he's recognizable. All the recruits in the country know who he is. Their families saw him on TV week in and week out. And people around the Notre Dame program knew his personality, know him as a real guy. Hell, going back to his time at Purdue and some of the other stops, him being in high schools. He would just sit and have genuine conversations with high school coaches for an hour and a half before moving to the next stop. It was never, hey, I'm here to check out JD PicKell and anyone else you have. Check the box. Maybe we'll offer, maybe we won't, and I'm in and out. No, he was spending genuine time with high school coaches. He's just a great communicator. He's very excited about wherever his feet are. And now recruits, when they get a call from Marcus Freeman or offer from him, it's different because he's more famous than he was before that run.
That's really interesting you say that, because if I'm a recruit or a recruit's parents and I watch him in some of those in-game interviews against Georgia or against Penn State when ESPN does the breaks in between the game, I hear him speak. I'm like, oh, I want to go play for that guy. I want that guy to mold my high school student into a young man. I want to play for that guy, go be an NFL prospect and be a part of the culture he's building there. Steve, one more team I want to get your thoughts on here.
There's just phone calls that mean more, JD. JD, there's just phone calls when a recruit's going through their process. Every offer is exciting. Every scholarship opportunity is cool. But there's just calls like when Kirby Smart wants to talk to you at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. You know, that register is different, right? And you earn that through winning and your prestige level. And Marcus Freeman, all the airtime he got on TV, being able to show who he is as a person. Now, when recruits talk to him on Pot of Gold Day, when Notre Dame's offering everybody in the 2026 class on St. Patrick's Day that's at the top of their board, or they're getting their weekly call with him as a top target, it just means more because he just has more stature. He was always the same guy, but now more people are aware of him and who he is, and the fame level has gone up for Marcus Freeman.